I kind of want to throw out there my kind of response to the crazy acts of violence that happened in Woolwich, because I can't really explain how there has been so much hatred to a certain particular type of religion, when actually if you find out the background that the people who did it aren't actually Muslim. If anything, the main guy, Michael, who actually was the one who was stood in the street with blood all over his hands and screaming with a knife in his hand and stuff, he actually is from a Nigerian family that came over here, but he was born in Britain, and he was actually brought up in a Catholic family who was, pretty much told and brought up life as a Christian, and basically wasn't anything to do with the Muslim religion. But for some strange reason, as soon as someone, commits an act like this, people start throwing race and religion into it, and suddenly that gets way out of hand. And what really did my head in the most was the fact that I'm starting to see all these statuses and Twitters and, tweets, or people saying, throw Muslims out of the country and all this, which is just mental, because since when did every single Muslim create a crime that was, enough to kill everyone? Yeah, there are extremists out there. There are people out there who have done crazy things in the time, and they've thrown out their beliefs and just decided the best thing to do would be, to go blow up some people to make a point. I do not condone this act at all. I do not think that any act of violence is justified by someone saying, oh, it was for this reason whatsoever. There is no reason that I can actually think of in anyone's logical mind that would be, oh, I did it for this reason. There isn't even a logical reason out there, They were just madmen, and this is the issue that I'm throwing out there. Don't condone murder at all. I do not think it's fair. I do not think it's right. But people have decided that these people must have been Muslim because they killed a soldier. No, it's not even that. It's everyone forgot about the act that happened itself. People got so hooked on the fact that it was a soldier who got killed by a black man that people suddenly started throwing out accusations that it must have been racial or it must have been to do with religion. And like I said, people haven't really thought about the fact that the guy who did it wasn't even a Muslim himself. And he actually didn't have a belief because he started to learn about racial Islam, and that's when he started to believe his beliefs had changed. And actually, he was a Class A drug dealer. So how do we all know that he wasn't high on some sort of substance and just had this random idea just to do it? And we all just go jumping on the bandwagon and thinking that it must have been a Muslim. Now, they target this guy. We don't even think, people don't even think that it was because he was a soldier. Most of the time, everyone's always assuming that it's because he was wearing a Help for Heroes t-shirt, which obviously of, supporters of Help for Heroes myself, it could have been anyone. I mean, I know people who wear t-shirts like that. I know people who wear the wristbands. I know people who have it as car stickers and everything. And if I'm honest with you, it could have been anyone who got attacked that day because they were wearing it. It just happened to be really, really, really unfortunate that they managed to get a soldier and do this cruel, evil crime to. But it's not. People have also forgotten to think about the thing that happened itself. They've started throwing this religion argument in it, that they've forgotten that actually the act of murder's just happened, and no one has given a damn about the person who's just died on the streets. An innocent person has just died on the streets, and no one gives a damn about wishing their family at all any, condolences or, anything. Oh, are you okay? I hope your family's fine. Our wishes go, our hearts or whatever go out to them. No one's even bothered to do that. And that is what I can't stand. I go through my statuses on Facebook and all I see is this Muslim that, this Muslim this, and it's just, I don't understand. And there was a man who got caught for trying to burn down a mosque. Now, I don't sit here and condone what happened. I do not agree with it whatsoever. But I also don't agree with racism. And we as a nation are running against racism if we, for one, sit here and say, oh, it's just all Muslims that have done this. And when actually no one actually cared to look deeper into the situation, to think that actually these are just two crazy-ass madmen who just went on a whim, and they were idiots. and we're all sat here making judgments saying it must be this religion, then we're just as bad as them for doing it. I don't think it's fair that any of us should be passing judgment on any person. Because we, as human beings, should learn to kind of love everyone and not be a part of that place. Like, oh yeah, that person's different, they must have done that. And like I said, I'm not with the violence act at all. You know, I do not condone anyone getting killed, especially innocent people, you know. But this just got out of hand and no one bothered to even, you know, to send wishes to the families or anything, and that wound me up, you know. And that's just kind of all I got to say. But it's, you know, you just got to put yourself in the shoes of the families now and realise that stop throwing hatred around, and you know, stop trying to say, oh, it's just this one religion, because if I'm honest with you, it's not. You know, we've got an ongoing problem throughout the world. People just don't get on because people have different beliefs. At the end of the day, we just got to kind of get on with the world that we live in. But when things like this happen, you know, the media show it off, and then it becomes one big ass hoo-ha, and we're just gonna, you know, all of us are just gonna have some mass frenzy one day, because, you know, I have a kind of worry in my mind that, you know, people throw out that it's something to do with Muslims, and then all these people around, you know, Britain and that go and start abusing Muslims, and then it starts off some gigantic war. Did anyone actually think, take a step back and think, well, actually, you know, not all Muslims are extremists. Not all Muslims go around killing people. As a matter of fact, there's probably, you know, a heck of a lot of them that actually don't. You know, I know there's a heck of a lot of Muslims that don't go around killing people. There are a freaking load of them. And people just, you know, the media only shows us the bad ones, and so we then think that everyone is the same. That's why, you know, we have this belief that some guy committed some crazy ass act, it must be a Muslim. How does that even make sense? Since when did that make sense? Why are we doing this? I question this all the time because I want to know what people think, but, you know, my hearts and prayers and all that go out to the guy's family. And I heard that his girlfriend was fighting over in Iraq or Afghanistan. It was in Afghanistan, and she had to fly home the next day to see her boyfriend because he'd been killed on the streets. And my thoughts go out to, you know, all of the family and her and of his family, and I just, you know, just had enough of hearing all these rants about Muslims, because it's not even all of Muslims. It was one thing, and they weren't even Muslims themselves. So if anyone cared to actually look and realise before they start pointing the fingers, we'd all be in a better place.